Coming to you live somewhere in his basement where he's hiding from COVID, it's Hey Mickey with your host, Mickey Bell. This week, Mickey welcomes comedian Cledus T Judd. And now, here's your host, Mickey Bell.
What is up, everybody? So glad to have you joining us for another week of Hey Mickey. I know that it has been a while since we have been on with you, but we have been traveling. We've been battling COVID. We've been burning down the White House. I mean, we've just been doing all sorts of stuff. So I'm just so glad that you are back with us. I want you to go ahead right now and share this video so that others know that we are back on the air and that we've got a great show lined up for you tonight. We will get on that here in just a moment. But first of all, hello, Carrie. How are you doing? Big Dave Richardson, so good to see you on tonight. Melinda, thank you so much for sharing the broadcast. Stephanie, hello, hello. Hello, Gail. How are you? Melinda, hello. There's Terry. Hello to you. Good to see all of you guys coming on. I absolutely love it. Go ahead and comment below where you are watching us from. All right. So what city, what state are you watching us? And we would love to be able to possibly either give you a shout out or just say hello to you while we are on the air. Also want to let you know that we will be monitoring the comments. So when we bring our guest home here in just a second, you will be able to ask your questions, make comments, do all sorts of stuff, and be a part of the show. I just want to remind you that you can sign up right now to be a part of the official Comedian Mickey Bell fan club. You can do that by going to our website at themickey.com, or you can go to patreon.com/themickey.bell, and every person that signs up will be receiving a brand new t-shirt. These are shirts that will only be available to our members. So we want you to go ahead and be a part of that. My guest tonight, listen, I am so excited to have this guy on the show with us. If I had to describe the impact he's had in what I'm doing, it's simply because he's already done it, he's doing it, and he's very successful at it. Cledus T Judd he hit the scene doing parody songs of country music, and the boy knows what he's doing. He's got a great story that we're going to share with you tonight. But y'all, ladies and gentlemen, make welcome, if you would. Right there he is, Mr. Cledus T Judd. How are you, brother?
What's happening? Thank you for having me on here. That was one of the best intros I think I've ever gotten.
Well, you know, I try to bring the people in, and you just say whatever you have to say.
Well, you bring them in, and I can assure you I can run them off.
Well, Cledus T Judd, I mean, I'm telling you, we're going to get into the career. We're going to talk about all that's going on. But just right now, just update us family-wise, COVID-wise. What's going on with you?
And, you know, Mickey, you and I have talked several times over the last few weeks and a month or so. And COVID has really taken, I tell you, it's a really bad time. I never thought I would live long enough to see all of this dissension and, you know, the virus and, you know, fighting amongst ourselves. And it's been really a tough time. You know, my daughter had COVID several weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago. Her mom had it, just about my entire family. And I told you the story over the course of a week or so. My aunt and uncle and my cousin's husband, his mother and dad, my two cousins, they all got sick with COVID and passed away all within a week of one another. And it was really tough. So, you know, the Bible says you ain't supposed to question the good Lord, but I tell you, in times like this, boy, you sure would like to sit down and have a conversation.
I may not question him, but give me some enlightenment a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So
take me back. because I've been following you, your career, everything. But I want the people to know. Take me back to Cledus T Judd as a boy. What was life like growing up?
Oh, Lord, this is horrible, and I'm just going. Got to be honest. I did an interview with a magazine here for the Thanksgiving holidays and Christmas holidays, and the lady that was doing the interview, and she wanted to know, all my fun stories of growing up as a kid, down south. And man, the sad part about it is, Mickey, I had to make half of it up because my childhood was pretty rough. It wasn't normal. My mom and dad were divorced, and there was a lot of dissension and arguing and fighting. But hey, everybody has a story, and I think that did for me was it helped me develop my sense of humor. Because we lived way out in the country. I didn't have no neighbors for a long time, and so I had to kind of entertain myself. And I think that's what the good Lord didn't give me much looks, but he threw a sense of humor at me and said, "Hey, this is best you got right here." So it was, I love sports. I played sports my whole life. That was a big outlet for me. In middle school, high school, I played basketball, football, and baseball. I was a punter in high school. And I'll tell you a quick funny story. I worked for 2 years to be the punter my senior year. I always kicked barefooted because I didn't like a shoe on my foot. And we were playing my rival high school, Cartersville High School, where the great Trevor Lawrence is from, plays at Clemson, the quarterback.
Okay.
So first, we did a 3-and-out, first 3 plays of the game. And Coach Murphy said, "Get in there and kick that thing. Get them out. Back them up." And I kicked it behind me. Went straight backwards. Never punted again. Never saw the again after that. He yanked me out there, cussed me like a dog, and that was the end of my football punting career right there. So
you put the shoe back on.
Oh yeah. We were a year before that. We were playing Cartersville, and there was a guy, Mickey, he was an all-time leading rusher to this day at Georgia Tech. His name is Robert Levette, great running back for Cartersville. And I went in the fourth quarter, my sophomore year. I was playing defensive end, slowest guy on the field. They threw a pitch out to Robert Levette, and I ran. I had containment on him, so I ran over, and as I got to where I was going to hit him, I just started running beside him. I didn't want to. And he ran in for the touchdown, and I followed him. And Coach Murphy said, "What in the world are you thinking? Why didn't you tackle him?" And I said, "Coach, that guy's going to be a legend. If I'd have turned his ankle or something, so my football days are numbered. Now, basketball, I played forever, played in college for a year. Got lucky and got a scholarship to Reinhardt Methodist College up in Waleska, Georgia. And a Pentecostal going to a Methodist church college, boy. Yeah.
I gave you some material for sure.
But it was a lot of fun.
All right. Now, you mentioned, I didn't want to break his ankle. That is so good. Yeah. So you mentioned that you didn't really have what you would call good looks now, but I found a picture, and I want you to take me back to this moment. Take me back to this moment, Cledus. Now, look, you can sit here and tell me that you didn't have you had to be fighting off the girls. I mean, with that head of hair, come on.
Let me tell you something. I remember that like it was yesterday. That was probably in 1986 or 87, right in there somewhere. I was a hairdresser back then. I worked all over the country. I did hair down in Atlanta and Louisiana, Florida, Germany, and I went and did a photo shoot because I wanted to be a J.C. Penney's model. Went down, and I think I spent about $1,000 that I didn't have on those 8x10s, and I think I still got them. I don't think I ever gave one out, but
I'd put them on the table. I would sign them all day long.
I guarantee you, my kids, when they see that, they just cringe. They just. But hey, look, that's all a part of our makeup.
It is. Well, now take me to the moment where you decided that you wanted to be an entertainer?
Well, man, to find one single defining moment might be a little bit tough, but as a kid, like I was telling you, that was, when I knew that I wanted to be more than just normal, because I was so abnormal as a kid. I was a class clown, but I really, really, really struggled in home life. So being an entertainer helped me to escape, reality, I guess you could say. And so it was just a matter of a chain of events happening that led me down the path to where I went and did the amateur night in Marietta, Georgia, back in 2001 or two, somewhere along in there, that I went in and did the 93 or 4, I think is when it was, that I did the amateur night, and the rest was history. That was just but leading up to that moment, Mickey, it was there was a few things that happened right prior to that were brutal. I'll be honest with you, and we can save that for later or another time. But it wasn't all easy, I can tell you.
All right, so comedy night, but we know you for doing parody songs.
Well, see,
so how did that switch over?
I didn't even have. I was sitting and I told you the story. I was sitting in the double wide trailer with my mom up in Georgia, and I just moved back from Ponte Vedra, Florida, where I'd had a really tough episode of trying to take my own life. It had just gotten really bad at that point. I was an addict at the time, and contemplated driving an old Honda Prelude over a bridge in Jacksonville, Florida, Ponte Vedra, Florida, and by the grace of God, he didn't let that happen. Jesus took the wheel that day, I can tell you.
Wow.
I went home and I was watching the CMA Awards on TV, and Vince Gill had won a CMA Award for When I Call Your Name, a great song. And I turned around and my mom was crying, and I said, "What are you crying for?" And she said, "Well, I just love to meet him. I just think it would be the most awesome thing to meet Vince Gill." And I said, "Well, if you want to meet Vince Gill, I'll set that up." And that was just divine intervention from good Lord. Put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Okay, you suffered enough, son. I'm gonna help you out." And my mom said, "Well, how are you going to do that?" And I said, "I don't know. I'm not sure, but I'll figure it out for you." And I wrote an Atlanta Braves song called "The Chop Ain't No Flop," and wrote something else, went down to the buckboard, and the band guy said, we don't know these songs. And I said, "Just play the drums and I'll make it work." I won the $50 that night. I'll never forget calling my Aunt Carol, my aunt that passed away a few weeks ago. And I called her collect, and I said, "I'll never forget it. I hope as long as I live." I called her and I said, "Aunt Carol, I think I just did something right." And just see her, because it just felt right. That was really the first time there's something about an audience that when they accept you, it's a feeling like you just can't imagine. And 6 months later, my mom bought me an old Toyota pickup truck from a friend of mine, David Moss, and I moved to Nashville. And for about 3 years, I struggled. I had to ride the Greyhound bus back and forth to Georgia to see my mom. I couldn't drive. I didn't have a way to get home, and was kind of homeless on and off. When I say homeless, I'd sleep in my truck out in the Donaldson Pike parking lot out by the airport, and I'd sleep in a walk-in closet a friend of mine let me have, and I'd stay there. And the snowstorm came through, the ice storm came through in 1994. And most people that are watching this will remember that. It was really bad in Nashville, and I was driving down Interstate 440, and I was cleaning my car windshield with a Mark Chestnut CD, and I got frostbite on my left hand, and I almost lost my fingers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was bad. And I called my mom on a Sunday night, and I said, I was staying at a friend of mine, the late Darren Norwood, a great singer. And I said, "Mom, I tried." I said, "But I can't do it no more." I said, I gave it everything I had. I'm hungry. My clothes, wore the same clothes for 2 years. And I said, I'm just ready to come home. And she said, well, are you sure? And I said, yes, ma'am. You and my stepdad, Gene. I said, Big Gene, maybe in the next day or so, when the ice is out of here, y'all come and get me. And as I was talking to her, I heard I had the phone in this hand, had gauze bandages on my fingers, and I heard in this ear, out of a little transistor radio, I heard a song called Indian Outlaw by Tim McGraw. And as I heard Tim singing Indian Outlaw, half Cherokee and Choctaw, I started singing, they're my Indian in-laws, came to visit me in my squaw, been here for y'all, about to lose my mind. And I said, Mom, I got to call you back. I said, I'll let you know. I'll call you back. And I hung the phone up. Me and a friend of mine, Bruce Birch, wrote Indian In-Laws that night. And I borrowed some money and recorded it a couple of weeks later. And about a month later, it was on 199 radio stations. And my career took off like a rocket. Now, I'll end that segment by saying, following Indian In-Laws, I had a couple of other songs, Gone Funky, If Shania Was Mine, She's Got a Butt Bigger Than the Beatles. And then I was about 2 years into a really taking off, selling a lot of records, and the videos were huge and life was good. And now you want to talk about, now I don't want to go to preaching on you. You talk about the good Lord putting you in a situation. Listen to this. I hope everybody that's on here is listening. I was asked to go play in a celebrity golf tournament at Hermitage Golf Course in Nashville. And I told the guy, I said, man, I just got off the road. I said, I don't want to go. I'm wore out. I'm tired. He said, I just think you need to go. It was for a benefit. And I said, well, all right, I'll go. And I show up to the Hermitage Golf Course. I'm tired, didn't really want to be there. And I look up on the big boards, where all the golfers were. And I was looking for my foursome. There was a foursome and then a celebrity, And I thought, well, I'll be the celebrity and I'll play with 4 guys to play with. And I'm tired. So as I get there, I was on hole number 13A. I'll never forget it, 13A. And it was so-and-so, 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 Cledus T Judd, Vince Gill.
No.
And I thought, now's my chance. And so what transpired after that was 5 hours of riding in the cart with the reason I was there.
Goodness.
I told Vince that story, and I said, man, I told him the whole story, and I said, at the end of the day, we actually played 9 more holes, and I said, would you do the video with me? It's called Wives Do It All the Time. And he said, I won't do it for you. I'll do it for your mama. He was just kidding, of course. And so my mama sent me to Nashville in an old beat up Toyota pickup truck. And about 4 years later, I brought her and my Aunt Myrna and her friend Johnny Gale to Nashville in a limousine. And on a Monday afternoon, they were all sitting there and the whole cast knew what was going on. And my mom was there and there was a knock on the door a little bit after lunch, and everybody, all the directors stopped and the production shut down because they knew what was fixing to happen. And my director, John Lloyd Miller, said, hey, why don't you grab that door right there, Moselle? And she said, well, what do you want me to get it for? And he said, oh, just grab it. We're going to break for lunch. And my mom, I'll never forget it, as long as I live, her little feet walking across the floor, and she opened that door, and there stood Vince Gill. And I said, I told you, Mama, I could do it. And, that was probably the single biggest moment of possibly my entire life, because other than the birth of my kid, of course, but, just being able to, and you just wouldn't believe you look back on those days, and I'm sure, a lot of people do it, but you got to think, how to get up there? Why didn't I go off the bridge? Why didn't I, take my life when I was a kid? I'd always premeditated when my mama died, I was going to die. How did you end up, hearing that song right on the night you're ready to come home? How did you get in a foursome that nobody in the world knew that you'd been up there for 4 years trying to meet that man? There your name was, Vince Gill, and then all of a sudden there's your mom, and she made, and to this day, when my mom died, Vince has always called and talked to me. I talk to Vince frequently, and he is still a dear friend. And I'll always be indebted to Vince for doing that.
That is so awesome. So let me go back to for just a moment because you just threw so much at us.
Sorry about
That
that.
is fantastic. So now, when you say you were in Nashville and you were trying to make it, you couldn't make it, you were about ready to give up. What was it? Were you trying to make it as a songwriter, as a comedian? What was it you were trying to do?
Well, believe it or not, I didn't know. I was. I wished I could tell you that I was fully focused on, one certain thing. I knew that I wasn't going to be a singer, like Jason and people like that. So I just knew I could sing funny. And the funny thing with me is I can't sing on pitch in my normal voice, but I can sing on pitch in character. And it's crazy. Like, I can't do a harmony. If Jason Crabb called me tonight and said, "Hey, I got $1 million in the back of that bus. I need you to sing harmony on Through the Fire, and I'll give you $1 million," I'd have to pass on it. But if he said, "I need you to come out and do it in Cledus' character," he'd have to give me the $1 million. So when we put the Indian In-Laws thing out and the radio accepted it like that, that just showed me that that's what they wanted from me. That was my niche, So it was just by the grace of the good Lord, I guess.
Tell me what life was like on the road during those moments. Cledus, I mean, now keep in mind, now people will have to remember, for the new ones that are younger, that was back when CMT actually played videos.
Yeah, it was, man, I wished I could tell you everything, and I will one day, but no, I'm just kidding. It was, when I first started going on the road, only having 2 or 3 songs out, it was not massive or anything. I mean, there was crowds there, and I think the turning point was when Jack McFadden and Stan Barnett, who managed Billy Ray Cyrus in the early days in his prime, when I met with them, and Jack McFadden looked at me and said, "Give this boy 3 shows." And he said, "Do you have a band?" And I said, "Yes, sir." And I didn't have one. He said, "Can you do a 30-minute set?" And I said, "Yes, sir." I didn't have 30 minutes. And I showed up at the Carowinds in Charlotte, North Carolina with Billy Ray Cyrus, who I drove in a cab 5 or 6 years prior to that, trying to be a singer. And then here I was 6 years later on stage with the biggest thing that country music ever saw at that time. And I went out on stage, and I bet you there was 25,000 people there, and I don't think there was a man nowhere to be found except me and Billy Ray and the band. I ain't never in my life saw that many women in my life. And then I went on to tour with him 3 shows. Billy Ray is a really close friend of mine. The Brooks and Dunn tour was massive. That kicked off in 2003, I think, and it was me, Toby Keith, Brooks and Dunn, Montgomery Gentry, and Keith Urban. And I had written Brooks and Dunn. I was on an Amtrak train going to Los Angeles because I didn't fly. And I sent Kix and Ronnie a fax from New Mexico at a train depot. I sent their manager, Clarence Spalding, Bob Titley, a fax. And I just said, "Ronnie and Kix, I know you don't know me, but I'm a fan. You saw my videos, I hope. I'm selling records. I'm good at what I do, and I could entertain your crowd till y'all come out better than anybody you could ever pick." And I said, "And to boot, I'll do it for free." And I sent it to Clarence, and I never thought I'd hear back. And when I got to LA and to my hotel, I had a fax, and it was from Ronnie Dunn, and it said, "Cledus, if you're willing to come and work for us for free and run this show, we're going to be willing to pay you. So welcome to the Neon Circus and Wild West show." And it changed. That changed my life right there. That summer was, I can't. Webster's ain't got the words, because it was just a summer of friendship, of fun, no cell phones, no internet, no Facebook, no fighting. There was no politically correct. It was just 6 close friends on a tour bus, living the best life you could possibly live at the time. Now, I toured with them 2 years after that, but I've always said, just like everything, the first time is the best time, and it's never been repeated since, ever.
Man, I'm telling you, every time you tell a story, and it's just like God has just pushed you into locations, I mean, how many people would send a request to Brooks and Dunn saying, I want to travel with y'all, but you, out of all the people, they said, well, come on.
Listen, buddy, Mickey, I wish I've never, I've always said that I never even enjoyed my success back then like I wished I would have, and because of the guilt, it just too much guilt. I may have, you and I talked a little bit about this on the phone a few weeks ago during Christmas, but how can you go out and enjoy making that kind of money when your best friend's back home at a barbershop making $10 a haircut? It was just hard on me. I just, I just never enjoyed it like I should have. I enjoyed the memories, and I wouldn't sell my memories for any amount of money. But I wished I would have knew of a way, because I would go out on stage and it'd be 20, 30,000 people, and they'd chant your name and Cledus, and I was a low man on the totem pole, compared to all those guys. Of course, back then I was probably a little bigger than maybe Keith and some of them, but of course they've done wonderful. But I would be the funniest guy you've ever seen out there in that crowd and work a crowd better than anybody. And I'd go back to the bus and bury my face in a pillow in the back bunk and cry like a baby, because I just miserable. I was just lonely, I would just eat up with guilt, so I didn't ever really enjoy it like I wished I had for some, whatever. Maybe it's because I cared. Maybe I always said I wished I could have had Elvis's money, because I had Elvis's heart, because I'd have gave it all away. No
Wow.
question.
So it's been no secret, and you've made it perfectly known that your daughter was the reason that you came back home and off the road, and the reason you've stayed off the road. And now she's kind of given her blessing. So tell us, what's the plan right now?
Well, Caitlin was born at Vanderbilt Hospital in 2004, September 11th, 2004. I was still using up until that point, cocaine, meth, you name it. And the night Caitlin was born was it was late in the morning, early in the morning, late at night. And after she was born, I had I had about $1,500 worth of $1,500 in one pocket, and I think about a half ounce of cocaine in the other one. And after she was born, probably 10 minutes after she was born, I ran to the bathroom where I seemed like I lived the last 5 or 10 years, with your head down, buried in a plastic bag. And I never forget, I closed it. There's old cold bathroom too, just a typical, you can feel it, the old cold tile and a stall, and nobody was in there. So I locked the door. I got the bag of dope out, and I stuck the quarter down in it. And I buried my head down. And as I raised my head up I saw when my head came up, I saw the most frightening, ugly, disgusting, despicable human being that God ever built in that mirror. And that would be me.
Wow.
Nobody else in there, just me and a quarter, cocaine in my hand, and a bunch of money in my pocket, with a baby girl laying, 100 feet from me. And I thought, you're a sorry son of a, what, after the life you've lived and the chances you've been given. If you stick that up your nose, you don't deserve what's laying down there in that crib.
My goodness.
And I took that quarter, I took the dope, and I threw it in the toilet, and I kicked the flushing thing with my foot. And that quarter that I had, I threw it on the ground. And when you go to a wishing well in the mall and you throw a penny in and it goes around and around, it just takes forever till it goes in and disappears. Well, That quarter, when I threw it on the floor, I leaned up against the sink in the wall, had my shoulder on an old cold block wall, and just bawling my eyes out. And I was watching that quarter, and it was just going round and round. It was like it's in slow motion. I just bawling my eyes out. I kept thinking, hurry up, just hurry up. And it got smaller and smaller. And as it got in those smaller circles, I started feeling better, and I quit crying. And then it just stopped, and it was on heads or tails. And then I knew then it was over. Done. I picked the quarter up, and I don't have it's in my wallet.
Wow.
I've had it for 16 years. 2011 or 2000 this past September, I've been clean since the day she was born. Never used again, ever. And yeah, that was never forgot. For some reason, there was some kind of significance to the quarter. I've always thought, and the way that it was like, just slowly but surely. I was just waiting. I was waiting for the pain to go away, and when the quarter stopped, so did I. And she's 16 now. My stepdaughter's 16. My stepson's 14. And they basically came to me and said, look, Dad, man, we're sick of them old videos. You need to leave us alone, and you need to go do something else and get on and and I talked to Caitlin, before, actually a couple of years ago, and I asked her about going back out on the road, and Amanda and Caitlin said, Dad, here's the deal. If you're just going to go out on the road, sing them old silly songs, she said, I'd rather you hang out close to home. But she said, if you're going to go out, give your testimony, and try to change people's lives,
Wow.
I'll be waiting on you when you get back. And Amanda said the same thing, and my stepkids are wonderful, and I won't leave the house again ever unless I feel like I can touch somebody's life for the better with all my debacles. Somebody asked me, would I do it all again? And I said, in a second. I'd do it just exactly the way I'd done it the first. I would go through every heartache. I'd go through every hurt. I'd go through every pain. I'd go through every disappointment because the good Lord took one for me. I'll take one for them.
Wow.
I will, and no question. And I hope that a journey that you've been on, and me, I've been on, and Jason and other greats along the way. The story is no good if it's not told.
Right.
Imagine if the story of Jesus was never told, or what? It wouldn't be a good story. Wouldn't be no story. So it's got to be told, and I hope I get myself in a situation where I can tell it.
So what are you hoping? Because the reason I say that is because I know what your goals are. I kind of know where you're headed, but I want you to share, because we may have some pastors. I know we'll have some pastors watching this and kind of listening, and some people who could put you in some great places. So what is your goal? Are you going to try to go back down the country music scene to have that stage, or where are you headed?
I did a few weeks ago, I did a little Donald Trump song, and meant to be fun and that sort of thing. Believe who you want to believe, vote who you want to vote. I just did a funny song, and it's fun. But to know that I had to go back out, this is awkward to some, but to know that I had to go back out and sing those songs night in and night out again, I doubt I could do it. But to know that I could go out and talk about those songs and what they did for me, and how they changed my life, and how I put myself in a position to win. And listen, there's a gold record right around this corner right here. There's guitars that people have gave me, but none of those things mean near as much as one drug addict coming up to me and going, you can do it. I put a price on that. You gonna give me $10,000 to go sing If Shania Was Mine, or you gonna bring me into church and let me see if I can't lead them to the promised land? That's what I want to do.
I love it. I love it.
I don't know. So,
but wherever he sends you, you're going to go.
No question. It would be. It's just what I want to do now. It's there's a conviction there. There's a passion there. I just want to be able to share and help. And I spoke down at a church in Atlanta in Conyers, Georgia. And you and I talked about this, and I said, well, my nephew is the pastor there. He's a wonderful human being. I mean, just love him dearly, Pastor Billy Moss. And Billy said, well, we're going to pay you. And I said, hey, just throw a love offering. I don't care. I just want to. There was a lot more love than there was offering. No, I'm kidding. Actually, I told you it was the other way around. And but to see people stand up, and I'm not a very good I'm not worthy to pray. I'm not worthy to pray. I say, Jason Crabb, yourself. I hate to mention that, but I'm such a fan of the Crabb family and Adam and all of them. But man, some of them pastors, they can preach, and you'll jump 9 pews, turn 2 cartwheels, and never have rheumatoid arthritis again.
Yes,
when they pray.
Yeah.
I ain't never felt worthy to do that yet, but I sure do love to get out and touch people and share my story with them for sure. So that's what I want to do.
All right, so I want to give the people that are watching us, because I want you to see some of this.
Yeah.
Paula says, what a blessing for this old mama. My son committed suicide 8 years ago. He loved those pills, and it makes me so proud to see someone that made it. You can do it God's way. Penny is saying, you are awesome. Vanessa is saying, God is good. Let's see here. Here's Penny saying, God bless you. That is awesome. Cledus. Wow, this is some powerful stuff tonight. So some people are just jumping on board and loving your testimony.
To the first lady there that did that, said that about her son. That's tough, because that was, I was always told from a little kid I'd never amount to nothing, and they said I'd never be a basketball player. I played college basketball. They said I'd never be nothing but a barber. I traveled all over the world as a hairdresser, did the world championships of hairdressing in Dusseldorf, West Germany with Whitney Houston. They said I'd never be a comedian. I sold 2 or 3 million records. But with all that being said, with all of that, I found myself in 1991, desolate, miserable, addicted, and had no money, no food. I mean, that was the rock bottom. Nashville didn't touch where I was at that point. I had no Honda Prelude, and I drove that thing back and forth across the bridge for 6 hours, trying to figure out how to do it. And you wouldn't believe the thought process. I wasn't in my right mind, but I thought, well, if I do it right here, I'm gonna back up traffic. And if I do this, somebody may see me, and it may scar them for life. For 6 hours back and forth. And I finally ended up on the other side of the bridge, and I called a friend of mine, Van Council in Atlanta, a big hairdresser down there, and told him what happened. He said, leave the car there and come on home. And that's what you call an angel. Van Council that day was my angel. He brought me home, gave me a job. I went from being a world-renowned hairdresser, having stuff published in all kinds of magazines, to standing behind a chair washing other people's hair for $8 an hour. Humble, and so I feel really bad. I was one of the lucky ones. That young lady that commented a while ago, her son wasn't. And there's too many of those tragedies out there. Hence why I want to do what I do, because I sure would like to got my hands on that young man before he did what he did. And you know who suffers the most? That mama right there.
Those who are left behind.
You ain't kidding. My best friend since I was 6 years old took his life several years ago, Brent. And his pain was over at that point, but his dad's was just beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It's a selfish thing to do. I know the pain can be brutal, but man, there's an answer. There's an answer. When you got that head down, that's the wrong direction to be looking. Because they ain't find nothing at your feet. You got to look up.
Before we get out of here, I want to give the people that are watching, I want to give you an opportunity to ask some questions. If you've got any questions that you would like to ask Cledus that you've always wanted to know, maybe he is your Vince Gill. You've always wanted to talk to Cledus. I want you to put question marks in the comment. That lets me know that there are questions, and then you can follow that up with whatever question you would like to ask. Cledus, one of the things that that I know about you that a lot of people may not know, we know you for your songwriting abilities for your parody songs, but you've got some you've got some real songs out there.
You know, I've always been appreciative to Joe Don Rooney. He was a guitar player in Rascal Flatts. He was the first guy to give me a publishing deal back in 2008, I think. And he said, there's just more to you than writing funny stuff. And I wrote, I had a cut on Rascal Flatts album several years ago. I got another one on Gary's gospel Christian record that's coming out hopefully in the next few months that I've already heard. And listen, you pew jumping. That's all I can tell you. Had a thing called, you know what's funny though? Here's what's really funny. I'll make this quick. I wrote all these thousands of songs trying to get them cut, never could get them cut. And then all of a sudden I started writing faith-based songs. And next thing you know, Adam, the Crabs called and said, hey, we're cutting, help me help someone. And he's going places, Adam. And then, you know, this new one with Gary is called, I better not give it away, but it's faith-based for sure. How do you feel about working on Sundays? And it's basically a story about, look, you know, your girl leaving you and you know God needs a day off, but man, I need to know how you feel about working on Sunday. I need a miracle in a big way. I know, Lord, this can't wait till Monday. So how do you feel about working on Sunday? And it's when he sings it, Lord,
that is so good.
It's really good. And then the biggest one so far was the Brantley Gilbert 3 Feet of Water. And I wrote that, started that about 15 or 20 seconds before I got baptized at Christ Temple in Huntington, West Virginia. And I was getting ready to get baptized, Caitlin, in the same pool where my daughter got baptized. And I was getting ready to go in. And I told you, I saw all these flashes of light, like popping in my head, and it was like all the addiction and the abuse as a kid and the spending the money and the fame and I never saw nothing good. It was all just all bad stuff and then it quit. It just quit like that quarter. And I said, thank you, Jesus. I'm fixing to leave all that in 3 feet of water. And buddy, I went in one man, came out the other. And I still don't do great all the time, but it ain't from lack of trying.
We have a few people that are starting to ask their questions, and then I've got a few more. Let's see. Let me see if I can find one here. Oh, here's a good one. When are you and Mickey going to do a show together?
Buddy, whenever he gets that love offering right, I guess.
I'll get the love and you get the offering.
No, I'll take either way it's good to me. That'd be awesome. You know, if I knew I had to go out, like I said, and sing a song or two or go out and speak to the masses or Mickey and whoever, that'd be my choice for sure.
Oh, we're going to work on it. We're trying, actually, we have been talking through the holidays, and we're trying to get some things set up and kind of do some things together. Cause man, I'm telling you, we both got stories to share, but we both come from different perspectives, but we end up in the same place, and that is what's so good. Big Dave Richardson wants to know, how did he lose all his weight?
I tell Big Dave Richardson I found it again. COVID, me and my wife actually went to the gym tonight, and we did a body scan, you know, because we're trying to work on our body, and it shows you pictures of 360 of your body. And let me tell you something.
No.
Yeah, no more peanuts. No more. I can tell you. So, but I've tried to, you know, do halfway decent, but with all look, there ain't no excuse. You know, what am I gonna do? Come up with COVID and lockdown? I'm a grown man. I know what I need to be putting in my mouth and what I don't. So, so keep your fingers crossed.
Rachel wants to know, have you put out a gospel CD yet?
No, because, you know, I'm not a good enough singer. I really and truly, Amanda caught me the other night. I had the piano vocal to 3 Feet of Water, and I was in there singing to the track. And I thought, man, I'd really love to go in and cut that and put some big harmony on it and do it. But I just don't know if I can, singing a Christian song in character. I don't know if that's going to work or not. So we'll see.
I certainly hope so, because that's what I'm doing right now.
I don't know. You're trust me.
Well, here's what I'm doing. Of course, some of them know. I haven't made a big deal about it yet, but we do have some tracks that are being created for me this week in Nashville, and I'm actually doing 2 of your songs.
Oh,
one
yeah.
is Bake Me a Country Ham.
Yeah.
And the other one is I Ain't That. What's the actual title? I'm a little more hungry than that.
Yeah. I'm a little, that one is Bake Me a Country Ham just slays. It always has. That's an old Tracy Lawrence, Paint Me a Birmingham. And Tracy, I think every time I've ever seen him perform, he always, when he's doing Paint Me a Birmingham, he'll throw in, could you bake me a country ham? Honey glazed with a side of yams. Leave it in till it's golden brown. And but that thing, you'll do well with that one. Promise you.
Listen, I'm absolutely loving the stuff. I am loving the friendship that we're building and just getting to know you. I wanted to share this. This is more of a statement that Jennifer had, but I just wanted to show you what kind of impact that you are having. Jennifer says, more of a statement. My husband, my best friend, always loved your music. He will be in heaven a year next month, and you still have a fan right here. God bless.
Oh, that's, man, thank you, first of all, and God bless you. I joined TikTok a month ago. My kids is aggravating me to do it, so I did it. And I never dreamed, and we can shut it down after this or whatever, but out of all that stuff on TikTok, back when you're right in the middle of the storm, you don't know how many houses you're blowing down. And being back on TikTok and, putting a song out or people seeing my profile on there, kids that were kids when I was doing it are grown men now, and grown women are saying, and I've got one in particular, and I called him on the phone, and he cried like a baby because he said, you were the only relief I got in a troubled childhood.
Goodness.
What do you say? What do you say to them people? And they say, oh, you were such a big part of our childhood. And thank you. You were, you never did dirty, I mean, look, I wasn't always, an angel by no means, but that one in particular, and he did a duet thing on there where you got me beside you, which I wasn't really there, and he said, this guy right here, I never thought I'd ever see him on TikTok, but he was the one that was saying that I really made a troubled childhood a lot better. And I sent him a message and I said, call me. And he said, I can't. I can show you. Amanda videotaped it. And he said, I can't. I just can't do it. I can't hold it together. Call me. And he called, and it was just awesome. And you think back, man, maybe I did do something right. Maybe, like I told my Aunt Carol on that telephone, on that collect call, maybe I did something right. And I'm gonna leave you with this one right here. And I hope this one will, and I hope you get this same thing. I was on that Neon Circus tour with Brooks and Dunn in 2004, and they did CMT did a show called Inside Fame. Mm-hmm. Almost like VH1's Behind the Music, where they go in and they do your life story up to that point or whatever. And I sat on the bus and watched that with Toby and Kix and Ronnie and Keith and Montgomery Gentry and a guy named Brian McConnell. And after it was over, none of them said nothing to me. They didn't say, man, that was awesome, that was great. But the last 3 minutes, every one of them was going, trying to be, they was crying, I think it moved them a little bit, and we never really spoke about it. Well, I came home off that tour that following weekend, and I was in a Hall of Fame Lounge in Nashville. It's closed now, of course, but it's probably 10, 11 o'clock at night. And this girl came up to me and she said, "Are you Cledus?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm Cledus." She said, "Well, have you got a minute?" And I said, "Sure. What's up?" And she said, "Well, I'm going to tell you a quick story." She said, "I moved here 3 years ago." This was in 2004, so whenever that was. She said, "I moved here 3 years ago to be a songwriter and a singer." And she said, "Never have got a cut and never really got to really even sing out much other than a couple of acoustic shows or whatever." She was from Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington. She was from Seattle. And she said, "So after being here for 3 years," she said, "I called my mom in Seattle and she said, Mom, I want you and Dad to bring the U-Haul down. And I got to go back home. I want to come home. I'll just try to do it on the music scene there and so forth. I guess got to come home." And she said, while I was on the phone with my mom, packing my boxes to come home, your Inside Fame came on. She said, and I started watching it. I told Mom I'd call her back. So I started watching it. And she said, the more I watched your Inside Fame, the more I unpacked my boxes. And she said, by the time your Inside Fame was over, I had everything back up on the shelf.
Wow.
And I don't know if I'll ever make it. Not sure if I'll ever make it. But you gave me an extra day to try. And wait, say that. I don't know. I can't even comment. It's too big. It's bigger than mine and your conversation, you know. So there you go. I don't know if she ever made it, but I tell you one thing. I hope she did. I hope she got one more day, you know, to try. I gave her that, or I feel like I did. So there you go.
Dude, it's like you just keep dropping these bombs, and then we're sitting here going,
well, hey.
I mean, the stories you have, and how about this? How good is God? How good is God that even before you committed to saying, I'm going to go out to the churches and I'm going to reach these drug dealers and I'm going to reach these people that are addicted to drugs and I'm going to reach these people that are thinking suicide. Even before all of that, God was using you and your story to save people's lives before yours was actually saved.
Yeah.
My goodness.
I don't even know. It's bigger than I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why. I'm not sure, but I know I would be doing him a big disservice after all I've been given. And let me tell you something. I drove the nicest cars, lived in the biggest houses, and never dreamed in a million years I could find more happiness than a $5 Bible, you know, because I used to open up the glove box on them Mercedes and they wasn't nothing in there that said, oh, here's happiness right here. Right there. It wasn't that glove box of that Mercedes you just spent $200,000 or $100,000 on or whatever. Oh, this $700,000 house. Oh, there's got to be happiness in the square footage. I mean, surely in these empty bedrooms that I can't afford to put furniture in, there's got to be some happiness in there. They ain't. It's unattainable, you know, things. I mean, everybody wants nice things. There's nothing wrong with that. I think God wants to prosper and do that sort of thing, but there's nothing wrong. But I've learned that, you know what, we live in I can take you on a tour of my house. We got a nice little house here. It's, you know, 5 acres out here behind us, some deer running around out here. But you know what, I've learned that I can actually cook on an electric stove, roll my own car window down if I have to. That food in that refrigerator over there will stay cold, and a white refrigerator is good till a double stainless. And I just wished I would have learned that early. But if I'd have learned it early, guess what? I may not be talking to you right now. Right. So I learned it when I was supposed to learn it.
Yeah.
I know nothing else. I don't know. I learned it when the good Lord said, okay, what's that? I don't know what the verse is, but well done. Well done. Now I'm gonna now it's your turn, and I ain't gonna let him down. So
listen, you are already impacting people, but this journey that you're on now, you are about to. I really believe that when this COVID thing lifts, I really believe that, and even before it does, I think God's going to really open some doors for you. So I'm just glad to know you.
Well, I hope he opens them for us, and it's people like you that will enable them doors to open for people like me. I'm just going to tell you, there has to be a you before there's a me, and there's got to be people before us that'll open them doors that I can't get in, and just put me in a batter's box. I may not hit it out of the park, but you know what? I'll swing a bat like his business. So, and if I come to the church near you, I won't sing. I'll play the record, but I won't sing. I promise.
Hey, listen, if you want to get involved with what is taking place with Cledus T Judd, you can find him on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify. He mentioned TikTok, Instagram. He's everywhere you need him to be, to where you can follow him. So go and watch some of them old videos. Go and reacquaint yourself with what you enjoyed back in the day with Cledus T Judd. And then whenever God starts using him in the present, you will be ready. What is the best way? So if we have churches, I mean, because I'm thinking that there are some individuals that are watching us right now that's thinking, I'm going to tell my pastor about Cledus. I'm going to go tell him. What is the best way for them to contact you?
Listen, just like you said, that they can get in touch with you. They can get me on my fan page. If it's the one's got the little character on there, you can send me a message. We're easy to get in touch with. It ain't like you got to go through an act of Congress. If you go through Mickey there, we can do it together. Chuck, you got Chuck's information. Mm-hmm. I hope people will give me a chance, to come out and talk and spend a morning or an evening with great people and hear the story. Like I said, a story is not a story unless it's told. And I hope I get the chance to tell it. So with that being said, morning radio is calling my name, the 350 wake up call. I've been talking to Jesus about that a little bit. Come on now.
Tell Mickey to get busy.
It don't start the service till 10. I got off here, and thank you so much for having me, man. You're a great dude, and I'm glad to get to know you. Thank you,
brother. Thank you for your time. I know you've encouraged people. Go get some sleep.
You got it. Have a good night. Oh, thank you.
That's Cledus right there. Cledus T Judd right here on Hey Mickey. And I hope that you have been encouraged. I hope that, I don't know how you could sit there and say that you haven't been encouraged. I just don't know. The best thing you can do right now is that you can share this video with somebody who needs some encouraging, somebody that's having a bad day, somebody that is on the path of wanting to take their own life, somebody who wish they could have a turnaround. Share this with them. You don't even have to say anything. Just say, hey, you remember Cledus? Watch him and let Cledus help these people. Man, I'm telling you, he is so inspiring. And we're going to do some dates together. We're working on that now and can't wait. We're trying to fit it in the schedule. For those of you that are watching, check us out, themickybell.com. Go to our website, check out all the shows. We're doing about 10 or 12 shows a month, even with COVID. So God's doing some great things. So check us out, themickybell.com. And if you would like for me and Cledus to come to your church, reach out to us. It's a lot easier than you think. It really is. And everybody can afford it. I promise you that. All right, we're going to be with you. I'll be announcing who we'll have next week. We'll try to line somebody up, see if we can't get them on here to encourage you and to make you have a great night. All right. I love you guys. Y'all are great supporters, and I just thank the world of you.